love to see me a Clockwork, Jonathan. You know those recent Dota Plus changes, Jonathan? I had a very nice screen I haven't showed you yet. I think I was like 85% win rate with Clockwork. Don't wanna show off, 85%. It was pretty impressive. Green all across the board. Shout out to the boys at Valve for adding that feature to Dota Plus. Makes it feel a lot better paying for that every month now. Still, Marcy is on the board, Jonathan. Exciting times. Sad times for me, though, as I have not remembered all the skill names for Marcy because, well, I'm not a degenerate, Jonathan. I don't play these kind of heroes.
Yeah, that's fair enough, Mike. She's fun to play, but she isn't as dominating as, of course, when she came out in the first month and a half of her being just obnoxious to play against. Much more punishable now, especially with the picks of Army Geniuses. I think Clockwork's a really good way to stop a Morrissey. Battery Assault just kind of ruins her. You don't really get to toss someone back. You can't offensively rebound as well going outside, so if there's no one around you, you're kind of stuck in place. Even then, I'm not sure. I haven't seen it too much, but Battery Assault might just be enough to cancel the cast.
It is.
So you do have a lot going on here for Army Geniuses and countering act at Marcia. And the rest of her draft is looking good as well. Keeper for Light Clockwork with a Pangolier on top. That should be our Wami Pango on hand here. And expecting either the Varish or Norman Clockwork. With a Kotl kind of a question mark, Azura could try to play it mid, depending on the matchup. So it's pretty open for AG to still flex out in their last pick. If they want to drag that surprise Kotl mid out, I think it's only really Armel who's been doing that still in Southeast Asia. So whether or not AG opts for that is a different question. But you have really good wave clear to deal with Eidolons. TNC, go into the Grimstroke. So you've got some pretty neat Inkswell combos. Inkswell on Mars, Inkswell on Morrissey are both pretty darn big. Soulbind, not the most important here. Double Malefice is pretty annoying. I don't know if the double grab tossback is great. It could
cool.
be, depending on the circumstance. Yeah, I'm not even sure if that works all the time. Like if you're out of range to cast your other tossback, I don't know if it still goes true on the Soulbinded target. So would be keen to see if that does work from TNC, but
I thought
a lot
this
of
was meant to be your favorite hero
interesting
now,
things
John. When Marcy first came out, I remember you telling me, "Oh, I'm gonna be a Marcy spammer. It's gonna be my main hero. Marcy best grill." That's what you used to say to me in the background. And
Yeah.
I must admit, Jonathan, I haven't seen many games with you and Marcy. What's happened?
I played her a lot, right? It's like a month and a half after she came out, so immediately after the first wave of nerfs, I played her a lot. Then I just kind of got bored. I'm still all in on my boy Warlock, and he's dead. So I'm like, yeah, my
Very funny,
Warlock's
John.
dead. CM's been buffed, but I don't know if it's enough.
Buffed?
Warlock. I mean, the slow on Crystal Nova is pretty nice, but she's still a dead hero. And Warlock got a move speed buff, but he's still dead. So I don't know. I played Marcy a bit. I enjoyed her. When they changed her rebound to not cast on enemies, I didn't play her afterwards. It just felt really hard to be offensive, always aiming for allies. It kind of threw me off. And I think that's one of the things that really put a dent on the Marcy there. Like it's very single target focused, and a lot of people have kind of figured out what to do against it now.
Right. Well, there you go. Thank you for that, Jonathan. Going back to the Crystal Maiden, I mean, I'm really enjoying the quote-unquote buffs that she received. It's always, I mean, as you know, John, I'm a Clockwork spammer, so when I see a Crystal Maiden against me in lane, there's nothing that gets me more excited. I mean, she has less HP than a creep, John. You know how great that feels for me? Just level 2, Battery Assault cogs. She can't do anything. It's a slow me. Slow me for that extra second. It means nothing. It's so great. I mean, Crystal Maiden players, they don't deserve the buffs anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They don't deserve it.
I have nothing to say about that, Mike. I don't know what I can do about that kind of bit. I am actually a Crystal Maiden player, so I don't know what to say. Like, I legit don't know. My Warlock's dead. I can't kill myself as Pudge. How am I supposed to enjoy Dota? Like, I can't play any of my heroes. I can't just deny myself. That's
John,
my existential crisis for 4 years. 4 years.
But you can play
Like,
Warlock,
Beastmaster's out. That's great. Hey, I was MVP a lot with my Warlock. My Warlock's actually game winning. Too bad he's just absolute trashed here. Absolute trashed here, hero. What's not trashed here is Beastmaster at the very least. So you've got the Roar coming through. Leaves the question of... so this is the one. Beastmaster mid Azura Pango. Support Kotl with Clockwork. Pretty strong lanes coming through. Wave clear still good. Really good push potential from AG. Great signal target control. Nice way to go through Enigma BKB Black Hole with a roar. And you're looking pretty good on AG. It's much less sensitive to executing big team fights. So I think they should be able to play the tempo that TNC was bringing out last time.
Okay. Just curious. I mean, I just don't know about... Oh, there it is. I mean, I was going to say, I really don't know about this draft with the Marcy, and now they've got the Bloodseeker, which makes it even worse. Well, what deals with the Medusa this game? Like, is the idea to just kind of outpace the AG draft and then just kind of go from there? Because it feels pretty tough, right? Because even if you wanted to finish the game real fast, against a Coddle, you know, high ground defense with Coddle, it just feels like you can hold forever. I don't know if TNC have got the kind of draft where they could just run them down that hard. I guess we're going to find out very soon. And, you know, John, even though I don't like Marcy as a hero, I'd like to see her win a game. I'd like to see her look dominant, because that would mean more nerfs to come for the hero.
I don't think she will, Mike. I mean, to be fair, this is a pos 5 Marcy, so it is laning with Bloodseeker. There's some pretty neat plays you can play. Dispose into the Blood Rites. Nice sidekick with... Bloodseeker is pretty strong, you know, just having Blood Rage and Sidekick on top of you, bonus damage, bonus attack speed, and that can be pretty overwhelming in the early phase of the game. So TNC does have that early tempo lined up for themselves. They've just got to find an angle to punish DB. And since Bach is playing Enigma against Medusa, I don't think it's going to be as tough for DB to control the lane. He can really clear out the Eidolons quite nicely. Mystic Sneak Spam, so it's going to be pretty annoying for Bach. Enigma Grimstroke does have an Eidolon play with Inkswell, I guess. I don't really know if that's something you'll always be shooting for here on TNC. So I'm still expecting AG to have a stronger early game, and if they manage to secure a pretty strong early to mid, scaling into late game is not going to be an issue. As you said, not much to really handle the Medusa towards that late game here.
I'm very excited to see how game number 2 goes. I mean, we could easily have a third game on our hands here based off the draft. But to be fair, we did doubt TNC last game around with their draft, and, well, they made it look easy. So, no more doubting TNC. Let's see how they do go in this game number 2 here against Army Geniuses. Again, at the very least, we have the new hero, so I'm excited to see how things pan out and see if they can make this work. And, of course, more importantly, John, we've got some 1 in 8 bet odds on right now. Army Geniuses still apparently the favorites against TNC Predator going into this game number 2. So, have it that what you will, Jonathan. I don't know what to really take out of that, because again, TNC made game 1 look very easy. Betting odds, though, still in the favor of AG.
Yeah, I think that's to be expected. You have much more data on AG. AG's had a better run than TNC in the last tour. A lot of people would expect AG to do well, but this new TNC lineup, again, just looks pretty darn good. Everyone giving Wami a shout out for whatever reason. Everyone loves bullying Wami. Then again, Wami did say have fun Mavis, so there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe Wami was the start of all of this.
I mean, Mavis is playing Marcy, John. You know, have fun. I think that implies he's not going to have a very good game. Look, what does this hero actually do is my thing, right? Look, as a support, what does this hero actually do but give you the bonus damage from Sidekick?
Laning phase-wise, it's really strong. Dispose is a really nice stun that can pull you back. It's a repositioning stun as well, which is rare, right? You only have so many things that stun and reposition you. So in the lane as well, that's going to be really nice for Mavis to play with. Just pretty tough to contest. Like, and Varish does a good job of controlling. They do manage to steal away a Rune of Released, but it does lead to an even start. And Mavis is copying way too much from Varish chasing him down. So already getting good use out of the boots. Mavis going to be forced to go back home, and that's going to stall out his joining in lane. Does look like Mavis is going to be joining down bot as well.
Oh, no, he's not.
Marceline is,
Mavis is going nowhere, John. I'm surprised Varish didn't turn the battery assault on. I thought that was just a free kill there. I suppose Mavis did have the dispose, so I guess Mavis Husky. I guess he was scared of being thrown onto the cliff, which is fair. Varish reading the movement. Very, very scary times.
Yeah, I think, again, the lanes coming out from TNC aren't going to get any easier. I feel like Enigma Grimstroke would have had a lot more presence. You could play with Inkswell, with Eidolons, perhaps to be a bit greedy. You could try to punish the Clockwork a little bit more. Instead, you put the Marcy up against the Clockwork lane. We talked about this from draft. Doesn't feel great for Marcy. Varish is just going to have a good time running down. And even the Eidolons take added damage now from the battery assault. So, you know, It's going to be relatively easy to handle Bach, and we saw what happened to a slow Enigma game from Wami. This time TNC's got to find a way to make that work here.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the other lanes while we have a chance as well, John. Of course, Krish and Azura are going to be against each other in the mid lane. Krish, he had a very, very strong first game here on the mid-Mars. Against the Pango, do you think much changes? It feels like an easier matchup, to be frank, here for the Mars.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier. I mean, if you already won up against Kunkka, Pangolier is going to be a little bit easier to manage as well. Rune control, it's pretty important for both sides to sustain their spell spam. That is one thing. Azura can kind of play with a swashbuckle from further away compared to Tidebringer, so Azura shouldn't be bullied out as much.
Yeah, Yowie able to pick up first blood top lane. Wami just dropping way too low. That's the thing against the Bloodseeker. You drop low enough, Yoe's going to have no problems taking you out, and for now, Naaman and the Keeper of the Light not really going to be able to help out whatsoever.
I mean, the Beastmaster plus Coddle lane is pretty good with the Axis build, and Wami does opt for level 1 Axis, so you can kind of spam that out. But losing out in the boars does make it tough. You can't slow down Yoe. Every single time someone across the map is a bit low, Yoe is going to be able to run you down, play the Inkswell combination here. And even if you start going for the boars, and you will get punished just from Stroke of Fate from Grimstroke. So it's a really strong lane for TNC. Maybe that's why they shift to Grimstroke top, because they know they're dealing with Beastmaster, force the Beastmaster to go for the Axis, and that just gives Yoe a much more manageable lane without having to depend too much on the costly Stroke of Fate. You can't really spam that too much in lane, so this makes it much more manageable. Narman, I mean, you can try just stacking up the Wild Axis again with the Chakra, but it's early levels Chakra. You know, the mana restore isn't that big, the cooldown's fairly long, so you're not going to just be able to twack onto Yoe every single time, and Yoe already off to a strong start. Very important for the Bloodseeker to have that strong start to get that early build-up and just get the aggression on top of the Dusa down the line.
Yeah, now he can just dominate the lane as the Bloodseeker, though Yoe is doing a decent job of trying to abuse those axes, and I suppose you don't want to pick up the balls anyway against the Bloodseeker. It's so easy to wipe them out with the Blood Right. The Yoe again doing a pretty darn good job of harassing out Yoe. Carlo, go for a bit of a chase here on the Keeper of the Light. Naaman going to cop the Inkswell stun, but is going to be fine. Because of another very annoying thing about the Bloodseeker is you can just keep kind of healing yourself up, though. Naaman and a very nice Illuminate there onto the Bloodseeker. But again, Carlo's giving all the information away anyway. So it doesn't seem like Yoe is too stressed out whatsoever. Just gonna heal himself up with the full creep wave.
Just does have the full wand up as well, so he's ready if he does get dived. And they're still not able to really capitalize on the lower Wild Axis CD with the Chakra. It is really a Chakra focus for Wami though, and the damage is piling on if they stay too long.
I don't know about this. Yoe might need to back off, and does. Inkswell does connect, but now Carlo's the one in danger as the axes are going to land. Carlo somehow barely avoiding the Illuminate is going to be able to salve up Yoe. I don't know if they read the patch notes, John. Yoe, not buying his own salve, is only going to get half the duration.
Yeah, it's not as much, but it does provide the necessary healing. Axes are still coming through.
Carlo, he's going to drop surely to the Keeper of the Light, but in the meantime, they are onto the Bloodseeker. Yoe going for more. They are going to find Wami. Naaman, he's going to try and go for a run and should be fine to make it out, though. Mavis is going to have his self cancelled off, and Naaman, in fact, is going to go back for a bit more of a cheeky harassment onto Mavis on that Marcy. It seems like Naaman's not going to have to back off after all. But for Yoe, I mean, you're 2 kills ahead now on the Bloodseeker. And this top lane, while it hasn't been the freest lane in the world, again, it's still going very well for this Bloodseeker. He's having no problems.
He's having a great time. He's having a better time than Ardusis down bot, which is surprising. Feels like this should be a free lane for DV, but he's just not able to jump on top of Bach's Idolons at release. He's doing a great job just microing, playing much more safe. Down middle.
Mavis in trouble, but Arena is down. Krish again able to set up perfectly onto Azuran. Well, that's your mid Pango. The top CS on the board going down here to the side of TNC Predator. Off the back of the Marcy rotating over, and Krish, he's very happy to take that kill.
Yeah, just off to that strong start once more on the Mars, and just having it's maybe almost a bit of a repeat of game 1 if you're not careful here on Army Genesis end. I think we expected Varish to just dominate the lane a little bit more. Again, without the Marcy in lane, it doesn't feel like he has a good target to bully. Bach has just been holding back the Eidolons. The Clockwork is great against Marcy, but that doesn't matter if Marcy doesn't show up in lane. Mavis has been doing a great job of just working the map, soaking that EXP, and just being active by level 2. He's just refilling Krish's bottle, ready to go again, and that's the strength of Marcy. And that early aggression you get out, the high mobility you get from the rebound, a great stun and relocation you have on Dispose, it all adds up really well. You have to be ready for that. I think Varish has got to match the movement of Mavis just to stop all of that out, because the Clockwork's a really good foil to that, but he just hasn't been around when Mavis shows up.
You know, I've shown up though, John. TNC, again, just looking fantastic this series thus far. Army Geniuses was still pegged to be the favorites during this game number 2, and of course the game number 1, but so far off to a very rough start once again. As Mavis now does rotate down towards the bottom side where they are going to find DB. Jump in, rebound is out. They do dispose as well, and already out of mana. They're just going to pop the black hole. No reason not to. Perfect setup there by Mavis. And Bok just no hesitation with the black hole. And in the meantime, Wami top lane also going to drop as Yoe able to find himself a kill on the Bloodseeker now. And that's if, of course, off the back of the Rupture at level 6 for Yoe. Varish will take over the top lane, but 1-5 is the scoreboard here for TNC Predator. Terrible news for Army Geniuses.
It's a slower start. TNC just fixing the issues of what AG might have been facing in game 1. They've done a great job with their Enigma this time around. Strong start for Bot, going for the same Aether Lens build-up as well. And we're seeing such a strong start from Yoa. Maelstrom already having the Javelin up, so not too far off from getting that wave clear on. He'll be able to manage the farm, and Krish still on a roll here.
Yeah, in he goes. Arena down. Inkswar to follow up. Azura in big trouble. Varish trying to help out. Does buy enough time, but in comes the rebound surely as Mavis does go for the dispose onto Varish. Back into the spear. The Clockwork is going to drop. And that was a very strange spear angle for Krish to connect, but nonetheless, John, he does connect.
And that's a great piece of game sense from Krish to see that angle onto that little ingress on the cliff. So just managing to clip them there, gets the kill in. He doesn't get the big one on Azura. Krish is still looking to be aggressive.
Yeah, dispose. Mavis not getting it out yet. Will try onto Varish, but is still unable to connect as now DB is going to show up. Mavis still trying. Does land it eventually on Azura, but it is going to cost his own life. Some rotations there from Army Geniuses to make sure that they do keep this Pango protected. Or even DB showing up just in case.
That's not necessarily a great sign for Arm Geniuses, having to drag their Medusa away from the bot lane just to help clear out. Gonna start jungling now on DB's end. Does have the levels to kind of sustain that. But you are lagging severely behind the Bloodseeker. And that's not something that's natural for a Medusa. You tend to have this really strong laning presence. You tend to be very hard to bully out. But it's been a slower start up against that. Enigma, Yoe already going for the TP away, sensing something's up with everyone being up top. They miss out on that kill opportunity in the Bloodseeker, and DB's kind of exposed down mid. Does get caught in the blood right, but doesn't get fully committed on. Still, TNC have a lot going for them. They're going for the bot here.
Yeah, Narman gonna get caught out. They just want a very easy bottom tier 1 tower as Narman's gonna try and buy himself as much time as possible, but there's no way out of this, surely. It's the dispose right back into Bok. And eventually Narman does drop. In fact, they even found his courier. Top lane though. Bit of a very aggressive TP out from our Grimstroke. Gonna be cancelled off. So they are going to be able to trade the top and bottom tier 1 tower in the end, it seems. Still seems like TNC should be okay with this. But they do waste a TP trying to defend that top lane. But they can certainly try to pressure the mid lane a little bit though, and that's exactly what Krish is going to do. They do have a double damage, and they do have a siege creep on the way. Back bottom lane. That fight has broken out. Bok in big trouble. Does have Black Hole back up now. They might be able to force the fight. Bok, he will go for it. Catching the Rolling Thunder as well. The Coddle's down, and now Azura. He's going to drop to boot. Perfect timing for Bok. And tips are out from Carlo. TNC once again getting everything they could ask for.
Their coordination's just on point. They're showing up in the right parts of the map. They're playing together as a team well. They're getting the ideal conditions to get these black holes going, to get the space out for Yoa. They managed to clear out that bot tower while also clearing out the mid. Big objectives for TNC. They can invade through the bot jungle, just keep their farm game up, and just keep working their way up. So AG now on the back foot. They have to find a way to stall out with Redusa, give DB all the room in the world to just scale into the late game, maybe into the 35 minute mark. That's when you start to feel comfy. Wami, already having that early help to Dominator, should be able to start to look for more aggressive push potentials going through, working into that Overlord, and once that's up and running, that's when the game can really kick in. TNC, though, not resting here, Mike. Are smoked up here.
Now gonna have the Unleash as well now on Mavis. We'll see how much of an effect that has as Wami. They've been spotted out there by Carlo, and they go with the Ink Swirl combination. Krish is in with the Arena. Mavis, well, it doesn't seem like he even has to pop the ulti. They just want to give the kill over. And I thought they were going to give it to Krish. Instead, Carlo will take it with a stroke of fate.
Yeah. I mean, you could use that farm on the Grimstroke. Down the line, you might want the Ags this game up against Medusa. We've seen the Dark Portrait Medusa illusion kind of do a lot of work. So that's going to be one way to handle DB if it does drag on a little bit later. Still, a lot more you could go for Carlo. Much more utility you could also look for on hand here. Side of TNC. Again, just finding that aggression with two of their supports and Krish once more. It's all about this trio. Every single time they can go for fight, they will. They've got the blink on Krish still ready to go. Arena still down for a little bit longer, and the side of AG are playing a lot more defensive, sticking all the way back. There are some good forward wards here from TNC to spot. Sentry spots him out.
He does get spotted. Scan is there as well. Krish gonna show himself in the mid lane anyway. Doesn't really seem to care. And he has Mavis nearby, and Krish is just so strong on the Mars at the moment. He really doesn't mind if they want to try and force a fight, even without the arena available. He doesn't believe that army geniuses have enough to really take him down. And I'd kind of agree with that, unless it was all 5 of AG. Instead, they'll back off, they'll control the Radiant side junglers. Well, they aren't going to be able to infiltrate the triangle yet. TNC will hold out for that. But you kind of wait for some core items to come out and block as well while you're at it. Like, he does go for the early blink timing first. But once you've got the BKB up, there's literally nothing apart from the Roar that's going to be able to... Oh, I suppose the hook shot as well can cancel the Enigma Black Hole. But it is certainly going to make it a lot more challenging. As AG, they are going to smoke up. Through the dire jungle they go, trying to find themselves a target. The only person showing on the map right now is going to be Carlo, though, up at that top lane, and he's pretty safe. Behind that tier 2 top tower, he'll TP away, and they just can't secure anything.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
AG. I mean, they're sticking around. I suppose you do have a Medusa on your end of things, so there's no real rush for them. They are playing for the late game anyway. But now the smoke out, Krish wants to try and set up. They are going to miss out on the Medusa, but instead they can go after Wami, who does get caught by the Spear Arena, and eventually is going to drop as Carlo takes another kill on the Grimstroke. They're even going to go for that dominated creep. The Hellbear Smasher going to be found out by Krish and Carlo. It's going to be a bit more gold to go the way of the Mars. Why the hell not?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I believe we've lost John, it seems like, as John has either disconnected or disappeared. So you're only going to get to hear my voice for a little bit as John tries to get his internet issues resolved, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Mavis going to try and go in after Varish, but won't find him. In the meantime, though, Bok does end up biting Narman. Another black hole committed here by Bok, but it works out for him. This early on, he just wants the gold anyway to finish off the black hole, so he won't mind just committing the black hole every chance he gets for a solo pickoff. And in the meantime, the rest of TNC Predator naturally just going to be able to push in other towers across the map. AG, they just have nothing to deal with this right now. Bot lane. Bok is falling quite low, but he is all alone. At least for now, but DB is rotating.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Because the Medusa not going to be able to do too much about the Enigma. Varish
Radiant structures
might
are
be able to find
fortified.
himself a very nice target with that hook
Radiant's
shot up.
top tower is under
Pings
attack.
around, they do see Mavis. Hookshot is there, battery assault to follow. Mavis looking for a way to get out, does end up committing the rebound and does get himself out, as now Varish is the one in danger, trying to back his way out of there. But eventually Mavis actually ends up going down as they are chasing for a little bit more, but they'll find nothing.
Under attack.
The TNC unable to find a trade here against Army Geniuses, who do get away with the pos 4 of TNC, and that's going to be enough for them for now. Practically any kill is great news here for Army Geniuses. It's going to buy a lot more time for DB, who is climbing his way through the net worth board. Currently sitting in second. TNC Predator. And at the end of the day, they must have a lot of faith in Yoer on this Bloodseeker. He hasn't been getting too involved yet. Maybe once he has the BKB up, they'll try to go for some smoke rotations with this pos 1 Bloodseeker. In fact, there it is. They are committing right now.
Yep.
BKB not up yet, though.
The BKB is big, but you kind of want to play that tempo now. If you are Yoa, you don't want to give that timeout for the Deuce to build up. They do manage to pick off Bach, isolated all by himself up top. They scan out the Deuce, though.
That they do. DB gonna get the Stone Gaze off in time. The Dispose was not there in time to catch out the Medusa, so now maybe they can turn this one around. Rupture already being committed means TNC probably won't want to force the fight. But they do back themselves out in time. Still, Army Geniuses, they are successfully finding some solo pickoffs here. I mean, the one on Bok you just pointed out down to the bot lane, not very good news here for TNC.
Yeah, it's a big one. Bach has been getting a lot of gold. He's been up there in net worth. That's one way for them to catch up, feeding off one of these cores that hangs around. As you mentioned, though, Yoe does have his BKB coming in, so that could be the turning point for TNC to start getting aggressive on that Bloodseeker. Still, that is dealing with Adusa with a Stone Gaze, so it can still be tough for our Bloodseeker to just face up against Adusa when that Stone Gaze does go off, and there's always the threat of Roar. That will force a choice out from Wami. Gonna have to choose whether or not he goes for the Roar onto Bach or onto Yoe. And if you don't go for the Enigma, the Black Hole is still going to go through really well, especially if the Stone Gaze is already gone, or if you catch a Dusa in that Black Hole. So, a little bit of a back and forth there. TNC's lead has dropped, though, Mike. Now to 2K, 4-12, and we are seeing DB being number 1 now in net worth, so he's starting to build up on that Dusa.
Carlo in trouble. Nice catch by Varish. So Carlo just completely trapped as they drop the arena, but now Mavis, he's also been caught out. Azura just going to TP his way out with the Rolling Thunder, is going to be right fine. Zioa with the Rupture just not doing enough damage against the Pangolier. And once again, TNC end up losing 2-0.
Just massive pickups for AG, letting them build up, buying that time for DB to grow bigger and bigger. It looks like Yoe might not be comfy enough to show up yet. He was queuing up the Lincolns, now he is going for the Mjolnir. But that BKB has been sitting ready to go for some time. Maybe just waiting to align that with Box BKB on the Enigma. So with the double BKBs, you can just run up and cause havoc in the middle. You still have that fresh BKB and Krish as well.
Rish, another great setup here onto Bok. The Enigma having a tough time now. Still just trying to farm that BKB up. Will commit the Black Hole. Battery Assault somehow not connecting. Bok, he might have changed this one around. They take Narman of Rish out. Azura, he's going to try to run, but Krish is going to be on the chase. He does have the swash away, but the chase is still going. They have a spear out. Dispose is available. Mavis, he won't throw it out in the end. They'll just wait it out. 3-for-1 trade now towards the side of TNC. I cannot believe the Battery Assault did not connect on the Enigma.
That was just beautiful game sense from Bach, knowing that he was far enough. He knew he also had his Eidolons around, and he could always just micro to comp some of that Battery Assault away, and just gets the perfect position to turn that situation around. Gives an opening for TNC to get some punishment off. They are still doing what they want to on AG, though. This is space for DB. This is space for their win condition, who is starting to drag ahead. Scotty being built up slowly but surely by DB. And once you hit that Scotty point, it starts to feel a bit nebulous for TNC. That's when you start to question their late game scaling. It feels like they're going to have to connect a lot of those black holes just to get control on DB to prevent that Stone Gaze coming through, which will ruin their BKBs. So we'll have to see Bonk start to connect once he has his own BKB up to lock in DB in these wider fights. AG, for their part, are going to go for a smoke play themselves.
They are. Roshan Might just be the target here for Army Geniuses. DB top of the net worth board, feeling very confident as TNC. They are not around to try and contest this Roshan. Scan is out, but it's all too late. Roshan will go down in time. TNC gonna find nothing for this. As Army Geniuses suddenly turning this game around, are gonna get the Aegis up on DB. And he's already gonna be a real nuisance to kill this game, John. Top of the net worth board is the Deucer, so they are going to force a fight onto the keeper of the line. Krish does move in. Narman, not dead yet, still trying. In the meantime, Carlo on the backside has been caught out as Carlo should drop and does. Krish, though, still trying to force the fight, but the roar is out. They'll hold him down through the BKB. Krish needs some help. Will spear away. Tries for the TP play out. Does make it. Just barely. Rupture around into Azura. They'll still lose Mavis, however. As it seems like Yoe just can't find a nice angle to join the team fight. He does have his BKB up, but it's not seemingly meaning anything.
Yeah, it's just tough when you have a couple of things that go through that BKB. The roar was expended early. The Stone Gaze did zone him out for quite a long time. And it does provide AG a really good team fight to still go in. They only find 2 supports, but Black holds down. Bach can't use his first BKB just yet. And that is excellent timing for AG to switch out after that Aegis to force that team fight. Not going to be able to find more beyond a mid-tier 1. So TNC still has good map control here, and they still have to be a bit cautious about bleeding out. Yoe is starting to clear out through those healthy Overlord creeps. That's a good chunk of gold going towards the Bloodseeker as well. But you are, again, just building up for Dedusa. Scotty, just 1 part away at this point. It should be up relatively soon. About 30 gold or so it's going to be up, and that should be the full buyout for DB next. And how do you deal with Dedusa at this point? 22 minutes in, a lot earlier than I expected. I thought that with TNC's aggression, we'd expect us at like minute 25, but DB's done a great job of just standing back and farming. AG's been able to secure a ton of space. And as we start to approach that 30-minute mark, Mike, again, it just becomes tougher and tougher for you to deal with that Medusa in the middle of these game fights.
Now Carlo's gone. Carlo just trying to desperately farm up his own Aghanim Scepter. Have that Ink Portrait going against DB. Working against the side of Army Geniuses, but he still needs a bit more time for that. That's kind of the thing, right? Like, we saw TNC dominate the laning stage once again. But then, once you hit the mid-game, they just kind of slowed down and waited for their BKB timings. Which is perfectly fine, but it just took them too long, and DB just kind of farming out of his mind on this Medusa has gotten to a point where the BKBs just aren't going to matter anymore. You are so reliant on landing a nice black hole now from Bok. And even once he has the Lincolns up, you're still going to have big problems, but DB does get caught out for now. Maybe they can force this fight. Arena down, holding down the Medusa. The mana is running rather low, but nobody's initiating. Apart from Krish, who made the jump in initially. But again, there's no follow-up.
And they need to be able to follow through. That was a BKB committal out from Krish as well. All the way down to 7 seconds now. You did see how much work just that Midnight Pulse does on the Dedusa. Like the percent-based damage does burn through quite a fair bit of DB's mana. So if you do manage to get even just an Arena Spear Midnight Pulse, that could be the condition to clear out DB if he's not careful. Still smoke out from AG. They know 1 BKB's down, they can try to clear out.
Oh, Krish gets away from the hook shot. Varish unable to land it, but still they've got a great target here as Krish does not have a BKB available. They need to help him out. Krish in big trouble, disposes there, but it's not going to be enough. Yoe, double rupture, but still, what does it actually do? Yoe can't go in. Bok, he'll do it though instead. Big black hole out, but the roar is going to cancel it off. Still, they are cleaning up. They found 2 for their trouble. Bok needs to get out, but it surely cannot, as DB does take him down. Yoe still trying to find a way back into the fight. Mavis does commit the rebound to go in, but DB still has the Stone Gaze. Ain't Aegis up. They'll go after Narman on that coddle. They might just have him, and they will. Onto the Medusa now. Mavis in big trouble. Does end up dropping. In fact, they even found Yoe on the Bloodseeker. Being slowed up. Has nowhere to go apart from down. A triple kill for DB. I mean, it was a decent fight to try and take, but they just don't have a way to deal with this Dedusa. Not with the Aegis up.
That's why they didn't commit. 2 lives up in Dedusa is just too hard to deal with. They do clean up Carlo. Great hawk dive as well. And they take out the Courier. The last piece of the Ags. So that's off for 2 minutes and a half. Massive opening for Army Geniuses. They will lose the Aegis in about 20 seconds. So not too much time for the high ground, but again, we've approached that point, Mike, where it's not even late game, but it does feel like you've hit that timing on the Medusa, where she's just this massive issue in the middle of these fights. Your Bloodseeker scaling doesn't feel amazing. Rupture's not been doing much to stop Azura. Sure, he stops rolling, but everyone else becomes an issue. And Bach is at that point where he doesn't have Lincolns yet, so the Roar is always going to be at play. They need a lot of these items to come true. They are relying on Bach to get these big black holes, to get the Midnight Pulse on top and connect with Krish when he jumps in. It's going to take a little bit longer for TNC, and now it feels like they have to stall this game out, which, again, you're playing against Dusa. Stalling the game out just to build up on your Enigma will allow the Dusa to just get bigger and bigger, and it just doesn't feel like the Bloodseeker is a great response to that, Mike.
It certainly doesn't. It really does seem like this game has just become so reliant on Bach. And even with the Lincoln Sphere up, John, he's still got to watch out for the hookshot and the Stone Gaze, both of which will cancel the Black Hole. With Lincolns and BKB, it just doesn't matter. The only thing you're really stopping is the Roar coming in, which is still one of the easiest ways to cancel the Black Hole in the first place. But you've got to be wary of Varish, and you've got to be wary of that Stone Gaze. AG, with an AK net worth advantage, have this game in their hands. It's very hard to see them losing this one. Mind you, you have seen how fast the Midnight Pulse does burn through the mana pool of the Medusa. That is one great way of doing it. But Mavis gonna get caught out. Azura is in with the Rolling Thunder. This is all off the back of the Hawk Dive that came out from this Beastmaster as Mavis is trying to find a way out. Does get a nice dispose of, trying for the TP play, but no, they've got the damage. They have got the damage once again here, Army Geniuses. But they're not ready for high ground yet. I think they might just wait out the next Roshan.
Yeah, it's a safe play. Minute and a half until you see that Roshan timer kick in. They've got Azura up with Lincolns. So now he's not going to have to cancel a roll. Doesn't leave you a lot of options here for Yoa. Still a long ways off from the level 25 double rupture charge. So just more things to worry about. You're not going to stop the roll. He's going to have an access point to clear out your supports, to punish you when your BKBs drop now on Azura's end. The high ground from TNC is still pretty strong. The threat of Black Hole, Arena, Inkswell combinations are still great. The Ags does come through for Carlo now, as his courier respawns. So you also have the Dark Portrait to play with. And that could be the turning point. Use that Dusa's farm against your entire team. And if you manage to get, say, Dusa Dark Portrait with the Black Hole running on top, that should be a good condition for TNC to hang tight here. 11k lead for AG though. Again, they're pressuring almost every single lane. TNC doesn't have too much breathing room here, and they're just getting chipped away. If they don't find that angle on the high ground defense, feels like we might be able to get that game 3 here, Mike.
Maybe so. Again, all the pressure right now is Bach. He doesn't have anything like a refresher or buy either, so you're not going to have that secondary black hole to commit right after the initial. It needs to be perfect every time. At least one time. So there's going to be a 5-man smoke out. They're going to try before Roshan does spawn, which is up in 35 seconds. Who can they find, though? Just one decent target might stop the Roshan attempt as Bach. Wami gets caught out. Krish, another great initiation onto the Beastmaster. Is going to be one does go down for AG. And TNC Predator. They can protect the high ground now and maybe even contest the Roshan.
Yeah, great pickup for them. Taking away the threat of the Beastmaster. Taking away the Hawks for a little while as well. So not going to have that overwhelming vision advantage on the AG, although they have some great wards to watch the movement of TNC anyway. Roche does spawn up. Roche number 2 with a shard ready to go. AG could just wait until their Beastmaster's back up. No rush from them. I think it's on TNC to try and get that opening, but it feels like they prefer to fight into the pit rather than defending the pit. Right? You've got Black Hole Arena, you have all these spots in this confined area that you probably don't mind waiting for them to start Roche first. And that is leading to that patience from TNC. Shoving back, repairing every wave, giving them the time to work onto those Lincolns here, Mike. And once those Lincolns do pop up on the Bloodseeker and on the Enigma, that should lead to an easier time for them to try to find that condition. AG, I mean, he's still looking like a terrifying hero right now. Almost has that Swift blink up. So even more output, even more attack speed coming through. Gonna be tough to deal with him once that's fully finished up. Do have the blink up and running now on Carlo. So easier time to find that Dark Portrait, to find that angle for the Soulbind as well. And it's still a rather even game. Like a 10k lead for AG, it sounds overwhelming. Majority of that's on DB. Everyone else, I mean, Wami's kind of keeping up, Azura hasn't. And TNC still has that great presence from Bach, who's shown us time and time again. Even if you catch this guy out on the Enigma, if you don't fully shut him down, he will find angles to pull some cheeky black holes off.
Well, they've got the Swift Blink up now on DB, John. We'll see if Bach can make those angles work here on the Enigma. Krish may get caught out immediately. Varish not throwing out the hook shot yet. Varish does manage to back himself out. One big factor as well is the Beastmaster Hawks being very annoying, just giving so much information his way as they are going to initiate Mavis. He'll be the one to get caught out. DB right in the middle of all this, just trying to get the work done. Bach going to drop immediately as the hook shot is there onto the Bloodseeker. Yo is going to drop. AG just completely clean up, and there is no buyback available on the Bloodseeker. Azura's looking for a bit more now. Arena is going to be dropped by Chris with the Inkswell. They're going to try and fight back. They've at least got the Pangolier. Buybacks are flying in. The Medusa gone too far. DB, why have you gone that far?
What?
It seems like they didn't have faith without the Bloodseeker. They thought the damage wouldn't be there. But Krish, he is still hitting very hard. As Mavis gets the rebound off, or rather the dispose, finds another. They do not get the double damage rune at the least. But suddenly TNC have a way back into this game.
That was such a big win too. Bach started Black Hole, immediately cancelled when he saw that Stone Gaze up, and he dies without Black Hole ready to go. It feels like such a wasted buyback, but they make it work on TNC. They stall out. They can't take Roshan because Yo is not around, but they hold on their high ground. They don't lose any objectives for their trouble. Tier 3 is still fairly healthy as well. And the side of AG just misstep. Like, they had an ideal condition there. If they just played patiently with Adusa, played for the objectives, forced TNC to try to make something happen, they might have been able to get the punishment. Maybe they didn't see that Bach immediately canceled the Black Hole, because it was just, you know, the initial sound went off, but none of the animations went off. So they might have not noticed that Bach wouldn't have the threat of Black Hole with a buyback, and then they just miss out and committing on top. I mean, DB must have seen it as he was very far forward. The rest of the team didn't fall through.
They're going to try and get Roshan started, but it is immediately spotted out here by AG. Very, very hard to take Roshan here for TNC as you are against a Clockwork and a Beastmaster. There's just so many ways. Even the Coddle just able to scout out the Roshan pit constantly. Very, very hard times here for TNC. Hell, you've even got the Will-O-Wisp up on this Keeper of the Light, so Narman. Some great AoE control here on the Keeper. Both teams going to remain grouped up, understanding how important this Roshan is, but AG are the ones to make their move first. Maybe they do know Black Hole is down for another 40. Scan is perfect onto TNC Predator. AG, they just need a way to start this fight. Yoe, he'd be a great target. He's going to BKB up. Rolling Thunder is going to be there. The BKB not out in time. Willow's going to hold them down. Yoe still alive. Who are they going on? Krish, in the meantime, has caught DB in the arena, but does not have a way to spear him up. The Medusa will keep moving in, that is, as the Inkswell, or rather Ink Portrait, is out, but is going to get taken down by DB. Carlo still trying to fight, but should eventually go down surely, as the DB Medusa just keeps going. Finds another. Onto the Mars they go. Surely they can't keep this fight up. Bok trying to jump in with the Black Hole. Has caught the Medusa. Maybe they have got the damage, but they need the follow-up. It's not there yet. Roar is out. Onto the Bloodseeker. They're still trying. Spear away from DB, but it's not going to matter. Yo is gone.
Oh, no.
Tips out. The Black Hole was there, but it just didn't do the damage. I don't believe they had enough Midnight Pulse charges. And with the Bloodseeker, you just haven't got the follow-up.
No, it's tough. They get roared up as well as they were trying to go play on that Black Hole. So the damage wasn't flying through from Bloodseeker, and that's the opening AG needs. High ground opens up. They're going to be able to take the racks. They could gun for tier 4s. There's no threat of Black Hole at all. No Bloodseeker buyback as well, so they could just go clear out if they wanted to. It looks like they will play it safe on AG's end. Take the racks back off. They have a Roshan they can still go back to. Knowing that the Black Hole's down, nothing to scare them off from that Rosh. Like DB, he popped that Stone Gaze early. Bach had a really good opportunity to play with that Black Hole, but you saw AG's positioning. They started to split up, knowing that their big way of canceling Black Hole was gone. and they just play it patient and force TNC to overextend there.
Yeah, it seems like you need to refresh your orb up on block to really get that impact going. The thing with Enigma right now, it's unless you can land the big ultis, it doesn't really matter as a hero. Not like it offers much else. Again, Midnight Pulse does a hell of a lot of damage to DB once the BKB's down, but that's assuming he stands in it. Which he definitely won't if he has a choice in the matter. Now TNC very far behind. AG 13k ahead in terms of net worth. I'm trying to see a point where Yoe can take over the map, but it's just Bloodseeker. It doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, I know. Like, I remember when we were in Stockholm, we were having a conversation with Jenkins about the X. It's just terrible. You know, like, I don't know. Like, scaling with Bloodseeker is a weird one. Maybe if you go for something like, say, Basher, Abyssal, Satanic, you'd feel great. Any core feels great with that set of items, though. At the
We go. Spear back. Midnight Pulse is out. The mana is dropping low as the Dispose is there, but it's outside of the Midnight Pulse. Oh, maybe a bit early. Azura, he's going to make the jump in. DB, dropping low on mana, is just going to keep going after the T4 tower, but another Dispose is out. Mavis trying to set up. DB in trouble. Spear away. Maybe they've got the first life. And they do. But can they get him a second time? He does have Stone Gaze, but the Black Hole is there. Arena, it'll lock everyone else up. Another hook shot is going to land in time. They need to back off ASAP. DB, he'll just keep going. The Mars in big trouble. DB can just go right to work, and they can't stop him. They can't stop the Medusa. He'll just keep trying. Another Dark Portrait is out. Yoe, he's going to move his way in, but where's the damage up? But Krish is trying. Another spear out. Maybe they can do it. The Inkswap follow-up is there. DB is going to drop. They've got both guys out, as now they can go for a bit more. Narman is going to try to run. Bloodright is not going to connect, but Yoe, he can just chase him down the old-fashioned way. But now the Rolling Thunder, they're going to reinitiate back onto the Bloodseeker, but he's got the Inkswell out. Barish is going to drop. Krish trying to go back in. Azura, Wami still trying, but they haven't got the follow-up damage. TP's around. They're going to try and get themselves out, and they might just make it. They will make it with the TP's out, but it seems like the plays from our Marcy, John, actually making the difference.
Yeah, Mavis is doing a great job. It was a bit funny disposing out of the Midnight Pulse, but they want to drag that Dusa further and further away from the team. Isolate the Dusa, get all the damage on top of her, while the rest of the team can't cross through that tier 3. And that's your opening. TNC hold on a little bit longer, still have a lot to play against. 13k lead still remains from Army Genesis, but they take care of those 2 lives in the Dusa. They get things to work. I think what you mentioned about Bach here is going to be really big. He is working towards his refresh. And once you have that threat of double Black Hole, double Midnight Pulse, which I think is scarier, it starts to get really tough to protect the Dusa. You have to respect the Marcy, you have to respect that Aether Lens Dispose. Look at that range, Mike, when you mouse over it. That's quite the range for a nice, very almost spammy relocation spell. And just dragging DB away from the team, again, it makes all the difference in the world just to get yourself that extra space between you and the rest of AG to hammer in onto that one big target. Gives you enough time.
Certainly does. Certainly, Mavis, while it has been a bit of a rough game, is trying to debut and show how Marcy works. I mean, Dispose, obviously a very strong spell, but again, I think you've got to be very wary about throwing him outside of Midnight Pulse. I mean, that's 12% damage per second for max HP that you're dealing, or rather current HP with the Enigma.
Look at this. They've got refresh up on Krish. They've got a refresh on Yoe. So when he hits level 25, 4 ruptures going off. That's going to be nice when the charges up.
Very nice.
I don't know about that. I feel like the Basher might have been a little bit better, but maybe just wanting that guarantee to be able to lock in Azura to stop anyone else who's trying to make a jump in. Double Bloodright and double BKB is probably what he was going for. Double BKB more than anything else. So we'll see if he'll manage to get that usage off properly, as he doesn't have buyback. Big opportunity for AG if they do manage to catch TNC off their guard. For AG's part, it does feel like they might wait for a next Roche, right? They lose a high ground push with Aegis up. So the mindset must be, alright, we just gotta wait for next Roche again. Right, so we'll see. They do manage to catch Yoe out.
That's a big kill. No BKB. Lincoln's broken. Azura gonna cop another, but the hook shot is there. Barish gonna hold him down with the Stone Gaze. They've got plenty of damage and control. DB making sure he joins for that one. He'll try for a bit more now. Krish on the run. Wami unable to chase, unable to catch, at least for now. That'll be about it. But they've got a Bloodseeker down without buyback. And that's a massive deal now for Army Geniuses. No pos 1 for TNC to play with.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit rough for Yoey, who's sort of all by himself, forced to use that refresh. Again, he bought out that refresh, no buyback for him. AG do have that opportunity for a high ground, and they are pushing in the mid. Roshan's still a ways off, so not going to be able to immediately dip for that objective. They are going to circle around down bot. Black Hole still up. Inkswell, Dark Portrait ready to go here. Arena still ready on Krish for the BKB. So they still have some play potential. They just need to really work that angle without the Bloodseeker here.
It seems very tough, but I guess the damage hasn't really been there for the Bloodseeker anyway. It seems like Krish has got even more as he does get a nice spear off onto the Medusa, but do you have enough? Midnight Pulse is there. The Medusa dropping a little bit lower as now the Black Hole's out. Maybe they can get the damage up, but the hook shot is there from Varish, saving the day once again as DB trying to back himself out with the BKB. Does make it out. Mavis, he's going to drop. Varish still holding them back. Bok eventually surely goes down, though he doesn't. Not yet. Instead, they're back onto DB on the Medusa. They've got him another time. Can they find more, though? Krish is trying. They have protected the bot lane of Barracks somehow. So the creeps are onto it. But Mavis will protect. And even without Yoe, they are holding out.
Yeah, they just have the right idea. Jump in, isolate the Medusa every time. Get the Black Hole, even if it's just one person, it's massive. Preventing that damage from flying through, preventing that Stone Gaze from flying on. And it does cost a lot of lives from TNC, but their bot racks are intact. Yoa does manage to respawn, and he can work himself towards buyback. Does get the Rupture off.
Narman gonna Wind Waker himself out of there as Azura's gonna happily jump in. This Marcy in big trouble is gonna die to the Hawk Dive of the Beastmaster. It's a cute little combination they've got there with the Rupture Dispose, but, you know, doesn't do that much damage.
Not quite, not quite. It is funny, but, you know, it's not like, say, the Spear back. It's not like, say, a Toss back, so still not too much. No buyback on Mavis is going to be a bit risky. It is 2 on 3, but AG still lacks their Medusa. This is AG's opportunity to just kind of swing into Roche, especially if it's a fast respawn. They're going to have a lot to play with. Yoe!
They've caught the Bloodseeker again with a roar, but where's the damage? Just a casual roar, I guess. Now Krish comes in. I suppose they have forced the rotation back out from TNC Predator. I think your roar's going to be down for another 13 seconds. It's not too big of a deal. Cooldown is very low on Primal Roar right now. Only 30 seconds.
And that level 25 talent adds a lot of uptime to that spell. DB is back up, so he can try again. No Black Hole for a lot longer here on Bok. 30 seconds, that's enough to rip through this racks.
Yeah, they're going to try DB. He's trying to get it done himself. There's going to be a smoke right behind him to make sure he can get this done. Even a Will-O-Wisp to be dropped, and, well, the side of TNC Predator nowhere nearby to try and go for a fight. It seems like they are heavily reliant on these disposers coming out, so they are going to wait a little bit longer for their Marcy to be back up. Sadly for the side of AG, Roshan is still a very long way away. 2.5 minutes. So they can either try and wait for that, or they can try to go high ground for the Megas. It seems like they might just go down the waiting route, though.
Yeah, I think they have to, right? Like, these last few pushes have been really spotty. Last time they tried without the Aegis, they lost DB. And before that, they had Aegis, they still lost DB. Still, bad position for TNC here.
Krish gonna make the jump in. Varish has been caught out in the arena. They can try to settle for one as the Will-O-Wisp is going to be dropped in the meantime. This Medusa has moved in. Stonegaze is there. Onto the Bloodseeker, holding him down. Yoe needs a way out. Bok, he jumps in. Big Black Hole out from the low ground. But the roar is out. It'll cancel it off, at least for one. DB still dropping low. Yoe going for the man fight. They might have him. DB's gone. Oh, they've got the Medusa. They have got the Medusa taken out. And maybe they can keep this fight going. Zazura has to back his way out. It seems like that's going to be enough for TNC. No Roshan up yet anyway, so neither team can go for it. But they are certainly still able to deal with the Medusa.
That they are. They just pile on. All this percent base damage just scaled so well into this point of the game. Bach's been doing a great job of finding that black hole, knowing when the stone gaze is down. Sure, he managed to get the roar off this time, but the damage was done. The follow-through arenas was there from Krish. He managed to play with the circles. Mike, the circles within the circles are lining up for the side of TNC. And Mavis has still been doing a great job with the disposes. Just pulling someone all the way back, isolating them through. It looked like a bad position for TNC. They were on the low ground from that fight. AG had a high ground advantage. They couldn't make it work. TNC again just getting the right jump angle there. Buys them some time. Roche still half a minute away. So there is some time here for AG to contest. The reducer respawn is fairly short to that point of Roche. They have to avoid losing more here. TNC does get even more opportunities to rough.
Getting Eruption up this time. Will immediately go for the roll-up TP away. He's going to make it out. Roshan up in 10. This could be a big deal. If TNC are able to somehow get this, the comeback may be online. Again, it's just so difficult into the draft of AG. So Raw is going to come out onto the Grimstroke. But Carlo, he's got the A on disc. He's going to be fine. And now the refresher orb is up on Bok. In fact, there's a refresher shard available on Roshan, John. That could mean 3 black holes potentially for Bok. And that could be the comeback they're looking for. I mean, 3 black holes, 3 midnight pulses. It's going to make easy work of this Medusa.
Just melt right through. And I think one issue for Bok is whether or not he has enough mana for a triple cast. He might need a cheese on top of that. With that in mind, it could have been better if it was an Ags, right? Like having that additional 5% damage from the black hole, basically the old Midnight Pulse on black hole, is pretty sick. And I think that would have added a lot more, but the threat of a free refresh without wasting mana is still pretty big for Bok. AG will smoke up though. They know they need to be able to secure a pick off before forcing Roche. They know they can't take the fight in Roshan defensively. So they have to be the aggressors here. Look for that pick off. Punish TNC when they do kind of declump while they're outside of high ground here.
TNC still grouped up as we speak on that high ground. Plenty of vision though with the rocket flares and the Hawks to fly out, so TNC should be somewhat under vision very, very soon. You do have jump in, DB, he's already gone in by himself. Yoe, he's going to pop the BKB and try to run as DB is going to make the jump in. DB, still at the stone gaze going. Bok is going to go for the black hole, but DB's still fine. He's out of range. Now the secondary black hole, they're still trying. Onto this Medusa Bok, he might have done it. They've got DB trapped up. He's going down and he is going to drop. Wami is going to be the 4th to go down as TNC. Somehow they keep Yoe alive. How?
Bok did everything. He had great timing once more, great patience for the stone gaze, managed to work things their way. They are being annoying here with Norman and the console trying to slow down this Roche. They are getting good damage off onto Yoe. It's a bit uncomfy, but they should be able to find that kill.
Waker is out again, Narman's still fine, but there is your toss back Mavis. Such a great range on that Marcy. And suddenly now Roshan is definitely very free here for TNC Predator. Scary, scary times here for Army Geniuses, John. I mean, Bok, he missed the first black hole that last team fight. And it still didn't matter.
No. He had a refresh, and he's going to have that refresh chart available here. Buyback forced out from DB. They need to run fast. They know there's no black hole threat here. Massive opening if they steal this Roche away somehow.
But if they give it away, John, the refresher shard is going to be there for Bok. 3 black holes next team fight if they don't fight this one out, let alone the Aegis. And the G's to come out. DB, he jumps in. Yoe, gonna go for the fight. Has got the Aegis up. DB, he's still very healthy. Will-O-Wisp out. Hold them down. Yoe, still trying to go for the man fight. Is man fighting DB? Still trying. The man is down. DB, has he gone too far? It could be a dieback, and it is gonna be a dieback up for Yoe. He'll survive through it as he even found a double damage rune. Oh, it's a complete disaster here for Army Geniuses. They're gonna lose Wami to boot. And there's a double damage. No deny. The ball walks right past. Oh, he's going for Mavis.
Oh, AG, what have they done, Mike? They overcommit on Roche. They jump in solo on the Dusa. No one to back him up with his buybacks even coming through.
No.
And they hold on to the refresh. It looked like Yoe was about to pop it, thinking he'd have to pop his Aegis and come back with a second life in the BKB, but not quite necessary. Backup was there from Christian time. And now Bach is going to be enjoying himself with the potential to have that refresh on hand.
Radiant's
Bit of
middle
a
tower is
last-ditch
under
play
attack.
from Azura trying to stall out here.
Oh, he's gonna get caught, surely. Bok actually popped his BKB, but had no black hole ready. Still 5 seconds away. So BKB down now. Bit of an error there from Bok. Then again, he has Refresher Orb up, so it may not matter. Yoa, in the meantime, holding on to the shards himself, so maybe wanting those extra pieces. No, never mind. He does give it away. Refresher shard back on Bok now in the Enigma. 3 black holes available. This is such a hard team fight now without the Medusa dieback, or rather buyback available.
Radiant's middle
They're going
tower
to try and
is
rely on Narman to keep the defense going, but in they go. Mavis going to try. Arena, it's off the mark. Bok unable to get a black hole. Maybe he can. He'll drag them out of the fountain. He's got them out of the fountain here, John. Arena's down as well. They might have another, and they will. Bok, he does not give a crap. Right in the fountain he goes, and Varish, he's just going to melt. Oh, Bok, I can't believe it. He just goes right in.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He's still got one more, John. One more black hole to go as TNC Predator somehow making the comeback happen. Army Geniuses, they've got 3 seconds for the Medusa, but the Ancient is exposed again. In they go. Another black hole Bok. He's not playing around, but the Stone Gaze is going to petrify him up. Still, they hit the Ancient. They do not care. They're ignoring the Medusa.
God.
Army Geniuses, how do they lose this one? TNC just relying on Bok to carry them through the game, and that's exactly what TNC do.
Oh boy, I think it boiled down to a couple of factors there, Mike. Not just all in Bach, although he was a big part of that. Mavis did a great job as well with the pullbacks, and even Carlo with his decisions on getting the Soulbind, on getting the Dark Portrait off on time. In fact, even Krish with his follow through with the arenas on those black holes, the follow up spear stuns, giving them more time to play with that Midnight Pulse on the Dusa. TNC played as a unit very, very well. Their coordination was just, for me, it's very surprising because, again, you've got new additions in Mavis, new additions in Krish, and they haven't been with that team for a very long time. In comparison to AG, they've been together since basically Tour 1. And this is a team that knows each other very well. They've bonded a lot. They play table tennis and badminton a lot. What TNC shows us that their coordination's there. They gel really well. They know what each player wants to do, and they trust each other to deliver those goods. Like, it looks so dicey on that first high ground push when DB had Aegis. He gets punished. He gets dragged back. Bach, Mavis, and Krish make that work really well, and they just keep doing that over and over again. This was not an easy game for TNC to turn the tides around on, Mike, but they get it done anyway. And AG, they're going to have to look really hard at what went wrong this game. It felt like they just weren't as coordinated as a team. You'd see DB come in with Azura. The rest of his team was backing off in that mid-high ground push, and then they got punished from there. And that's where it really started to break apart, just from tossing the Deuce in, DB being so aggressive while the rest of his team wasn't quite ready to back him up. And he just gets sacrificed. He's tanky, sure, but Enigma has a lot of percent-based damage, and they had the Dark Portrait. That was just doing a lot of work in the middle of these engagements.
Yeah, it's a really impressive performance here from TNC. I've got to say, John, I'm liking this new roster they've got. It seems very, very powerful and definitely a lot of potential there for TNC. I'm not sure if we actually have an interview on the way, John. Maybe you could, chime in and maybe have some kind of input on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Check.
Yeah, all right.
We should check with number 2.
You check, because I can't, message right now. I'm
Yes,
very limited to what I can do, but. We don't know if there's an interview on the way from TNC. I'm sure they're just very happy after this. We do.
We're
have
just
a
waiting. We're
Okay.
waiting for who it might be. I'm
Right.
keen to see who will they send to the fire. This is the hardest part, according to everyone. No one likes doing interviews, Mikey. So I have a feeling they might throw Krish, the new boy, in. We might toss him as the sacrifice, or one Indian player out, fresh in the Philippines. He did say he was a Jollibee enjoyer, Mike. So I'm very happy to hear that. I spent a weekend with Talon. My boys were not the biggest fans of Jollibee. Made me very sad, Mikey. Very, very sad.
Well, I mean, I haven't even tried it yet, so I can't comment too much on the old Jollibee, sadly, Jonathan. I look forward to the day I get to try. Hopefully, we do get Krish. I mean, what was it? The last time we saw him play on, I feel like you and we saw him part of that Ponlo stack, was it?
Yeah, Team D. I keep saying Team Dog, but it should have been Team D. Yeah, that should have been it, I think. Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying Team Dog. I keep getting dragged back. Team Dog was like, was it Abed stack in 2019 or 2020?
Something
It was
like
around that time. Yeah. So it was Team D. It's been a while. They were supposed to make it in. They did get that disqualification for, I believe at that point, cross-regional play or being registered in 2 regions, which was not allowed.
Yeah.
I forget who was the launching point. No, I think I remember, but I'd rather not point out anymore. But yeah, that is an interesting time. They looked really good. And Krish was, Krish is a really young player. I think he's like 19.
Wow.
Out from a region that's not the strongest Dota region. Like we used to cast India for the ESL India Premiership. And we'd see players like Krish, we'd see players like Mice, like Shotty, all of those guys. And we lost that tournament. They don't do Dota anymore. But here's Krish still grinding away, still believing in Dota and doing well. Really looking good, bouncing back for TNC after that shaky first series. It looks like they've done a lot of repairing since then. So he's done well. I think out of all the players on TNC, I think I'm just really surprised by how well Krish has integrated himself. That's the one big part.
Well, the Indian Dota scene, I never thought it was that bad. I just felt like they were lacking support. I don't know. Like I've seen weaker regions, to be honest with you. I feel like no offense to any regions out there, right? But you think about like regions like South America when they first started. I don't think they were that great, and over time you see the improvement, right? Because you get a bit of support, you get a DPC slot, suddenly, things are happening. But, regions like India, they don't really have one. So they have to play as part of the SCA region, which, is naturally harder because I believe the ping is a bit rough to the server. And if I'm correct in saying so, I think a lot of players from India usually play on the Dubai server or something like that. So it's a very interesting kind of dynamic that happens here. Is I believe we do have Bok coming in for the interview, so we'll go ahead and drag him in. Hopefully, my volume is good for Bok. Hello, Bok. Can you hear us, sir?
Oh, hello. Hi.
Hey, how you doing, sir? Congratulations on your victory. Obviously, a 2-0 victory there for TNC. I'm going to ask you straight off the bat, how are you feeling after that game number 2?
We feel really good, of course, because we won, yeah.
How was that game for you? Like, it felt like the whole team was on your shoulders, right? Like, the game 2, you guys were having a pretty rough affair. Then you ended up landing some great black holes, the midnight pulses, everything working out. Did you feel a lot of pressure there, Bok, going into that game 2?
Maybe a bit, just a bit. But we talked about how we should fight. Like, we should just wait the gaze out, or if we can get off like a 2 or 3 man black hole, then we commit like that.
Go on, John.
Yeah, it certainly worked out there, Brock. I am curious, this TNC squad, it's relatively new, right? Like you've got the 3 core members that's been around for a while. You have Krish, you have Mavis in. And I think a lot of people were looking at this with Army Geniuses, this matchup. People were looking at AG as the favorites because they've been stuck together for a long time. It feels like at this tier of Dota, it's down to how well you work as a team, much more than individual plays almost, because it's so even individually. What has led to TNC just looking like such a cohesive unit? Like, why, in your view, how close are you with these guys? Because it looks like you guys understand each other really well, despite that short time with Krish and Mavis here.
No, I mean, like, we've practiced like for 2 weeks already, so like we've been trying to gel out all the things that we need to do, like our early to mid to late, and all of this. Like, we just like talked it out and like what we need to do and what not to do.
All right, and I know Krish just recently went into Philippines. Like, is there anything you guys will want to do with Krish while he's there?
Oh, we need to let him to try. We need to let him try Filipino food, of course.
Yeah, and what food? I know there's one food you want to say, but I'll let you say it. What food would you want to have Krish have for his win here?
Definitely balut.
Hey, if you guys make him do that, you guys have got to get that in the social. I'd love to see how he reacts. So, big congratulations. Looking forward to the Balot video.
Thank you.
Oh, well, Bok, before we let you go, you guys have got Execration coming up next for your next matchup. Are you guys feeling confident? How are you feeling going into that matchup?
I mean, like, everyone is really confident. Like, the atmosphere is really great. So, yeah, we're pretty confident.
All right. Well, Bok, congratulations on your 2-0 victory, and you guys have a fantastic night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, Bok.
Thank you.
What a nice guy. Of course, that was TNC Bok joining us for the interview. John, I apologize. I was going to ask some more questions, but unfortunately I was coughing my lungs out in the background, so had to let Bok go before we made a complete shambles out of this interview. Still, there is another 45 minutes left, sadly, till our next series does start. Who is it even playing? It's going to be Polaris Esports versus Enigma Galaxy SEA. So it should be quite a hype matchup. I believe Polaris, bit of a rough affair. Well, this week I suppose it was. I was about to say last week, but they've got another chance to try and get a good series going their way. NGXE also having a bit of a rough affair in their previous series, but we'll see what these two teams can do against each other. Is there something wrong, John? I could have helped but notice you did look sideways. Have I made a mistake?
No. I was looking at my windows because I felt my room shake. I thought an earthquake was happening. I was just
Excellent.
checking. I think there was a slight one. It's all right. It's not enough. We have 45 minutes. My house will hold.
All right. Well, we'll go to a short break, a 45-minute break, in fact. And when we are back, we'll be back with Polaris Esports, of course, against NGXE. We'll see you then.